You're listening to
The Classroom Collaborative
podcast with your hosts, Deedee Wills
and Rock
and Adam Peterson.
Here we go.
We're so glad you're here.
Let's get started. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Classroom Collaborative podcast. Deedee Wills and I, Adam Peterson, are so excited to join you again. Deedee, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good. It's just friggin' freezing here in Illinois.
I know. I heard you guys in the Midwest are just getting like wicked weather.
It's nonstop. Like every time you think there's going to be a little sun, it snows again. Or like Sunday, it's supposed to be negative 30 with the wind chill. Possibly, it's stupid.
Southern Illinois, it's only going to be like -5. So
we get that Chicago wind effect, I guess. Well,
go ahead.
You go ahead.
You go ahead.
No, you.
Well, we're really excited to have our good friend here, Katie Mense, from Little Kinder Warriors. We've known Katie forever. In fact, I always tell people, Katie was one of the first people I met from the blogging world in real life. So we didn't live too far away from each other way back in the day. And so we met up a couple of times. In fact, she was there when we had the big chicken disaster.
The chicken incident.
The chicken incident that goes down where my dogs killed a bunch of chickens. And I was on the other phone to my hysterical family at home. Like, the dogs are killing the chickens. And she was there. But that's not why she's here today. We have her here today to talk about something really exciting that she has done.
I don't know the story, the chicken story. I'm going to have to hear that one later.
It is a tale of tragedy. I'm going to tell you that. It did not fare well for my feathered friends.
I don't have my headphones in or my microphone in, so I'm gonna do that real quick while you tell why we're here.
Okay, so Katie does all the things, but on top of her things that she does, she can now check that little box that says what, Katie? Children's author?
That I am a published children's author.
Yay! So exciting. So I would love to hear maybe start with what is it that made you decide this is what you wanted to do?
Well, it's kind of a weird story.
You're in the right place.
Yeah, look who you're talking to here. Did you forget?
I mean, it's not a real exciting story. You know how much I love to go to thrift stores and things like that. And I was actually thinking about, winter units, things that I could do and create for wintertime. And I was at Goodwill and I found the cutest Yeti hat. So it was a like fuzzy white, like baseball cap, and it was like a Yeti face on it. Oh my God.
Did you find that in the children's section or the?
What'd you say?
I said, was that in the children's section that you found that, Katie? Yeah. Or... I'm kidding.
That's the first place I go when I get in there. So then, I started thinking about creating a Yeti unit and what I could do with that. And then I just sat down one day and wrote a little story about a Yeti and sent it to one of my friends. What do you think of this? And he was like, you should totally have this illustrated and have it published. And I was like, I don't know. But I ended up looking into it, giving it a try, and
here you are.
That's what I did.
I don't have the book yet.
It's Amazon, so cute.
Amazon is promising it's coming, but I am super excited. I know you have your book with you, right?
I do.
So can we just see the cover up? Oh.
Can you see it as a glare on it?
No, it's good.
A little bit, but I can see it. Yani the Yeti.
And the power of Yet.
I love that his name is Yani too. Like I wish he was a piano playing Yeti, but
that's what he should have been learning.
I know.
And he might have infringed on something.
He was into yoga and he lived in a right?
No, it's such a cute story, and I love how you came up with it. I mean, I know you mentioned you first met Katie in the blogging world. Katie and I first met in the speaking world. We were both found out we were presenting in Vegas the same year. And then if you all don't know Katie from her blog or TPT stuff, she's got the cutest. So I've learned that word from all you guys. The cutest, the cutest products. I mean, they're fun things that the kids just love to use. I know I've used them in my classroom, and I see all the stuff you post, and kids absolutely love it. And you've created some really cool stuff. So I love that book came from that idea, that it was that one little thing that sparked it, and that's such a cool story to have. That I wouldn't say that that's a weird story at all. It's a cool. And it's those things that create us as I mean, I consider you an artist. We're all artists in our own right? Like, Deedee's an artist in the content she creates. You're an artist in the stuff you create. Don't look at me like that. We all have our own form of art. I'm getting really like deep here. Okay, just go with it. And I think any artist, no matter what their medium, has that spark for something, right? So the fact that yours came from a thrift store find, I think that is genuinely you, which I think makes the book even that more special.
It makes it really fun. So I thought maybe, because I know that teachers all over, there are teachers who just love to create, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm thinking that there might be somebody listening now who thinks, you know what, I've always had this story in my head, or I always thought about, writing a book myself. And I'm sitting here as the only unpublished author in the trifecta of fun we have here. But, of course, publishing a book like Adam had is a different process than the children's book, because you need to have it illustrated. And unless you are, really talented with drawing and such, that may not be, I know mine would be illustrated if it was up to me with stick figures. That's what they would look like.
Well, you've seen my first book, right?
Yes.
Pretty much all it was.
So I guess I would love to hear the process. So you already said that you kind of came up with the storyline first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you wrote, did you storyboard it, or did you just have like a whole story like on a Word document or something?
I just hand wrote it. One night I sat down on my couch and hand wrote it.
That's awesome.
And hand wrote it. And then from there, you went to look for an illustrator, or did you go to a publisher, or how did that work?
So I self-published.
Yay.
So I went and looked for an illustrator. I went to Fiverr.
Nice.
And I pretty much spent an entire day one day just searching. There's so many illustrators on there. Yeah. And you kind of I kind of know some things about, putting products together. Yeah. And some of the graphics that the illustrators were using were from
other people,
websites like FreePic, and they were just collaging them together for their illustrations.
Right.
So I kind of, I'm like, oh, those graphics look familiar. So I really, I kind of knew what I was looking for. Somebody, that actually did sketches and then colored them in and
Right.
So I found this girl, and because you can spend a fortune on having a book illustrated.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't know if I was willing to spend that kind of money. So I searched and searched and searched. And I found this girl she's from Russia, and she was brand new on Fiverr, like just starting out. And so I took a chance because she was brand new and she didn't really have any feedback, but her illustrations looked amazing. Oh. And so I contacted her, and she's in Russia. So it's like the complete opposite times. Like when I was waking up, she was going to bed. So I pretty much I laid everything out, told her exactly down to like the position of their hands, what I wanted illustrated on every page. And she was amazing.
Oh my God.
And I mean, almost every time she got it exactly how I envisioned it in my brain.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's amazing.
Amazing.
It's fun. It's fun when you can do that and see like when you can find someone with that much talent that they can just take your words
Yeah.
and bring them to life. So yeah, my books were all stick figures until I did my Gigi's Yellow Garden, which Gigi's was done by a high school student who's an artist, and I had seen
That's amazing.
she's awesome. It's like she grew up on my block as a kid. I remember when her and her twin brother were born. Like I visited
So
the
cool.
school when I wrote my first book, and she had. I'll never forget this. When I went to visit the school when I first wrote, gosh, probably My Teacher Has Feelings Too, or Yellow, one of those. She was in, I think, like 6th grade at the time, and handed me a drawing of. It was a hedgehog, and she's like, "I want to give this to you because I love to draw and I love that you wrote books." And I'll never forget that. So when I wrote Gigi's and it was going to be about a guinea pig, I was like, man, I should reach out to Grace. So Grace Althouse is her name. And she's the same kind of story. I didn't draw anything out for her. I said, I need a guinea pig that is brown and white. I want it to look like watercolor-ish. She needs to be surrounded by yellow. Here's the story. Do it. And there wasn't a single drawing that I had to say, let's fix this or let's change this. When someone has that much artistic talent, like I consider myself a doodler. I don't draw. I doodle. And
I don't draw. People say I'm artistic. I'm like, no, I'm like creative, but artistic is a completely different word.
Yeah, it was amazing to see that process. To hear you had the same experiences, it blows my mind that someone can take words and put them into what you came up with Yani the Yeti. It was awesome.
Well, and I also think that, the fact that you had to dig deep to make sure that you had original work is something that I think a lot of times, maybe everybody doesn't think about. I know that, if we create a product for TPT or something like that, we take other clip artists' work and we put it together. But when you publish a book, of course, it's a different thing altogether, right? And so you have to make sure that you have original work, because you don't want that to be, well, first of all, you always want to do the things the right way, but you also don't want to have to come back and undo things, right?
Yes.
What a great opportunity also, because if somebody's out there thinking, I think I'd like to do a book, you've exposed a new illustrator too.
And
what a great thing to add to her portfolio.
Right.
She is just the sweetest person ever. She's like so grateful for like anything I do. She's like, you're the nicest person in the whole world. And so, I put links to her store and all of my products that I created to go along with the book. And she's just the most grateful person.
Oh, that's amazing.
How do you say her name?
This is actually this is her like pen name. This is like her Fiverr name.
Okay.
But her name's actually Katya. And so it's Kate. And so we kind of have the same name.
Well, that's cool. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Pretty awesome. So let's dive into you mentioned products now, because if anybody follows you, they've seen the pictures from when you visited our friend Holly. It looked like a lot of fun. Kind of disappointed I wasn't there to experience it. It looks so cool. So let's talk about what you've done now with the book, because teachers can get this children's books on Amazon. They can read it to their class, but I love that you've gone and created something to go along with it. And I think that's one thing that we talk about. You're raising your hand.
I'm raising my hand because, although you and I, Adam, we know what the story is about. I would love for Katie, you to kind of give us a quick synopsis of the book, and then also.
Oh, sorry. See, this is what happens on our podcast. We don't have anything planned. We just go with it.
This is what happens when we get up too early in the morning, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So the story is a growth mindset story. It's about the power of Yet, just why he is a Yeti. But it's about this little Yeti. So he's about kindergarten age. And he doesn't know how to tie his shoes yet. And all of his friends know how. He gets very sad and ashamed and discouraged. And then his big brother, comes and tells him about the power of Yet and how, sometimes you can't do something, but you need to think about different ways. How can you try to do this differently? And just keep trying and working at it. And you may not be able to get it yet, but eventually if you keep doing that and practicing, then eventually you'll be able to get it.
Love
And so he asks for help from his friends and his parents, and he looks on the internet and finds different ways to try, and eventually is able to tie his shoes.
That's awesome. And spoiler alert, I love that you put the different shoe tying techniques in the book as well. That was so cool. When I was flipping through it, I'm like, that's such a cool idea. Like, because I can picture my kindergarten students when I was still in the class, like I could picture them sitting in the reading corner, reading that and looking over and seeing them like practicing it right there, you know?
But the illustrator again, they've got the standard knot and the bunny ears method.
Awesome.
And the illustrator again, like I'm like, okay, I want, these illustrated, and I told her to do 2 different color shoelaces, so it's easy to see, the different steps and where the shoelaces are going. But she did such an amazing job and put arrows and
it's so good. I love
it turned out so good.
I mean, because isn't that sort of like every kindergarten teacher's? I mean, shoe tying. I mean, bless. It is a full-time job if you like a shoe tire, right? Yeah. And having this book, not only would it be great to, we always like to have an engaging book, and the message of Yet is really an important one, even for adults.
Yes.
Even for adults. But then to have that open, those of you who aren't watching this on a video, when you open up the book, there's step-by-step guides, nice size illustration as well. So it's not minuscule. Students could open that up and just have that be something to practice. So go ahead. Back to Adam's question. He's above me here. Back to Adam's question.
No, I just want to say too, I know you had asked about the process, and Katie, I know you and I had chatted and used the same process I did, because I think there's teachers like Deedee had said sitting there going, I've got this idea. I've had this idea for a book. I've had this idea for a book. It's work. It takes some time, but I know from experience, and Katie, you now know, it's really not that hard to do. It's not, thankfully, to the company that you used, and I use KDP, right? That's what you use.
Yep.
You want to talk about how you laid yours out or how you got that done? Because I'm sure the process is a little bit different for each person. But how did you take your words and these illustrations from, JPEGs or whatever they were and typed text into the creation it is now?
So that part was definitely the most challenging and complicated for me. Mm-hmm. But that it only took, a few days.
Right.
It's not like it was
months,
some huge process. But she actually I told her what font I wanted to use and gave her the font, and she actually put the words on the pages for me.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure that I would do it that way again, because when I got, when I put it into KDP, some of the words were cut off.
Oh, and yeah.
So then I would have to have her change the layout of the page instead of just doing it myself. So going back, I probably would insert the text myself.
Right.
And I also have a brother.
A very smart.
I think that was like a thank you.
Yeah. Who is a huge tech,
just
all-knowing genius. And so I would be like, Dave, how do I do this? How do I keep the images so they don't get compressed too much? Or how do I do the margins? So I have a Dave that helps me with all of that.
Well, you're right. It is a process. So KDP, for those of you that are listening, it's Kindle Direct Publishing. It's a self-publishing site through Amazon that you can do children's books, you could do cookbooks, you could publish, I think, music through there. You could really publish anything you want to, self-published. I used Photoshop when I did it and laid it all out, but it's a process. And I remember when they would send me a proof and the title would be too close to the top, and I was like, no, because you're gonna go through the whole resizing phase. But it's a fun experience. I know when I wrote What Do Fishies Eat with my daughter, she was 5 at the time, and we had a lot of fun doing the artwork together and relaying it out. And it is a process, but it can be fun. And I think the coolest part about it is knowing that you're going to have what you're holding there at the end of it. So yeah, if any of you are thinking of trying it, just research Kindle Direct Publishing. There's other sites out there too, but that's what I had experience with through friends that had told me about it. And I know, Katie, you're the same way.
It's through Amazon. And so, it's already there. It's, already there in Amazon. They give you your code on the back. And so you don't have to do all this kind of stuff.
Right.
It's all there. Yeah.
That's like advanced stuff. Like, how do you even get that stuff? Right.
I don't know.
So do you have to commit to a certain number of books? Like, no. So you could say I could sell 1 or 1,000 or, 8,000.
Yep.
Nice. So the risk is really your time.
It really isn't. Yes.
Your time, and then the cost of having something illustrated.
Yes.
And if you are a drawer or an artist, I know there's some teachers out there who are phenomenal.
Right.
That would be something that they could do themselves.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it's cool because you get to set it all. You set the price you want to sell it at, and then as an author, if you're doing like book signings when the world opens up fully again, and Katie wants to host a like a book signing at the school or something, you can get author copies at cost. So it can be, you can make some money off this too as a self-published author. So teachers that are listening and are thinking about it, try it. I know we've done it too. I think Deedee and I talked about this before when we talked about fundraisers with my books. I started doing this after I put my first book out with my classes. So every year my students and I would write a book together and self-publish it through the same process that Katie just explained. The kids would draw it, I would help them write it, and we would use that as a fundraiser for our school or for Yellow Day or whatever it was that we did. So teachers that want to try something like this and not really do it as I want to make money to sell a book, or I'm not the artist, but you want to highlight your students. All it really took was me getting permission from the parents, I made sure my school was okay with it, the board and all that, but we turned their artwork and a story we created into a book each year, sold it, and grandparents and parents ate that up, and we put that money towards a charity or our school's Yellow Day scholarship fund that we have or whatever it may be. It can really be a fun process.
Really cool. And also I think that I think a lot of people right now are realizing there are a lot of books out there that have not been written yet, that need stories that need to be told that haven't been told yet, voices that need to be heard that haven't been heard yet. And so whether you're going to like your book, I think is perfect because we're always looking for that quintessential, how do we tie shoes? Like we need those. The bane of our existence. Oh my God, sloppy. I'm thinking of those wet shoelaces.
Oh yeah. How is your shoelace wet?
Right. I love that meme that's like, as a kindergarten teacher, the worst part of my day is tying shoes that are wet when it hasn't been raining outside.
So that there's that for sure. But then also, I know a lot of people have stories in their heads, or they wish that we had, informational text that told about this particular subject. And so anyhow, I'm really excited that you took this huge project on. But also, Adam, you started to ask a question and then I left turned.
No, but you did it right. You took the right steps, Mrs. Wilson.
Was I going the right direction? I've only had about 8 ounces of caffeine so far this morning. So anything is working in my head is short of a miracle. But you also created some resources that go along with this book, right?
Yes.
So talk about that.
Yeah, sure.
We did.
So I did create a book companion. So in the book companion, there are just things like, vocabulary, and then character analysis, response sheets to the story, things that also focus on growth mindset and the power of yet and what that means. And then there's a craft, things like that are in the book companion.
Nice.
There's also just a little coloring sheet that my illustrator just gave to me as a little gift because she's so sweet. So she put all the characters on there, and that's free in my Teachers Pay Teacher store. But I'm also the centers that are themed with this character. And they're kind of like a mountain climbing expedition themed center that I did at Holly School. Those I will hopefully those will hopefully be posted soon.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, a book companion, and then the coloring sheet, and then the centers hopefully will be posted soon.
Nice.
It
That
looks
is
like
a
a lot of
huge
fun.
undertaking.
Oh
Very
yeah.
So we want to make sure that we'll link. I imagine I don't know, but have you done a blog post on your adventure yet in Holly's classroom?
I have not.
Okay.
Not.
So you have until Monday to get that done.
Yeah, I love this. No, I love having deadlines and you telling me, look, you need to do this, because then I will.
Well, if you guys are wondering what we're talking about, so Holly Ely is a mutual friend of all three of us. Engaging the standards on Instagram. I know I was just searching through it. There's pictures from the day that you were there on Holly's Instagram
Holly
feed.
does a fun Friday I don't know how she does it. Every single Friday, she transforms her classroom and does this huge hands-on, engaging thing at her school.
Yeah, she makes me tired. Like, it looks so fun.
I need to just keep wiping on because that made me just need to take a nap. It looks so detailed and well done. And I was looking at your unit and I was like, wait a minute. Because at first I was looking at it and I was like, how is this an old picture? Because I saw everybody together. And then I realized, you guys don't live that far apart. So you just went there and did this and it looked amazing and everybody's dressed up. It looks like that thing that everybody needs right now, even though we look and we say, gosh, that makes me tired to look at. Those are those moments when you have those days that actually give you more energy. As you're laying back and your feet up, poppers on your head, you're like, that was fun. And then students come back with even more energy. So
I don't know if you can see that, but who was that?
That was their principal. He dressed up like a Yeti. He was
so
throwing snow at the window, and the kids were all, and he came in through the window and delivered Yeti ice cream to the kids. So it was awesome.
Well, and I looked through it, this whole thing, and I assume the stations that we see there are what you're putting together. There, you know, there's measurement, there's reading, there was science stuff involved. It looks amazing. Like it looks so much fun, and I love that you created that to go along with this amazing book too.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So awesome. So again, you have until Monday, and technically release Sunday night because that's when we put all the links in. Right?
Okay.
And, we'll have all the links to all of your finished products that have been posted.
Okay.
I feel like I'm your mom. I could be your mom. Technically, I could be your mom.
You couldn't be our mom.
No.
We're a lot older than the perfect
I'm 41, Deedee. You can't be my mom.
Yeah, I guess I didn't give birth when I was 13. But I'm your older sister, and I'm giving you the older sister look.
I'm only 38. You could be my mom, right? No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Sorry.
I've lost the connection. So anyhow, I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see all of the details that you guys have put together. One obviously for the book, but also for the fun day. Because I think that winter is always this is that time of month. I mean, we have this party, right. But to have a learning and, we got the 100th day, we got Valentine's Day, pretty much all on the same day sometimes. And although that is fun, it's great to have a really fun day that's also serving an academic purpose as well. So I think this is going to be really exciting for our listeners to look at.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in the meantime, until those, and if they haven't found the products yet, tell everyone how they can find you, where they can find the book, how they can follow you, stay up to date with Yani the Yeti. Does Yani the Yeti have his own Instagram page yet?
No.
I feel like there needs to be.
I can barely keep up with my own Instagram. I can't do two.
I feel like there needs to be also like a series Because
That's what I was going to ask. Is there another book
That's
coming?
why I left it kind of open and put the main title just like Yani the Yeti and kind of, and put like that tagline title because I wanted to leave it open to maybe do another book with this same character.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
Learns to Yani those of you who are listening, fill in the blank. Yani the Yeti learns to ride a bike.
There's possibilities there.
Learns to snap his fingers.
Yeah. Riding the bike is actually the last page in the book. His friends are riding bikes and he's looking at them and saying, I can't do that yet.
There you go. That's the next one.
So many things.
She's like, dang it, you gave it away.
He needs to learn how to swim. He needs to learn how to climb Mount Everest because apparently that happened in the classroom. So anyhow, I'm really, really excited to see how this goes and what you have coming up next.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, so you can find me at Little Kinder Warriors. I'm very, very active on Instagram. And my Teachers Pay Teacher store, where you'll be able to find those products, are just my name. It's Katie Mense.
Awesome. And Deedee,
thank you guys so much for having me today.
Glad you were able to make it.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you. And we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.